Welcome everybody. It's kind of amazing because I think life really is like a giant collage. You know how you take each individual piece and put it on the paper, and then collectively you get a whole story when you do a collage? Today on Facebook, it reminded me that 3 years ago, and I swear this is a true story, that 3 years ago today, I went into the High Museum of Art, and that would be the first piece of the collage that would culminate today. So more on that in the video. Today's guest, I met through a virtual conference on mail art. Oh my gosh, Beth Allums did the session. And I not only fell in love with the whole idea of this mail art collage thing, but she was just delightful. And I was like, I need to get to know her. And so that would add to this beautiful collage that all comes together today. So after I got to know Beth, like literally within the last few weeks, since this whole crazy pandemic thing started, we came up with this really fun plan of a lesson plan and an event, and School Arts Magazine did too. And I was like, oh my gosh, this could be cool, because Nancy Walkup is the editor of School Arts Magazine and a former educator and an amazing human being as well. And I said to Beth, I think we can all collaborate together. And I called Nancy and she was like, absolutely. Frank Juarez is a Wisconsin art educator who is also helping with the school arts event. So there's so much packed in this super short session today. It's about an hour long, but still that it goes by so fast. But let me start by properly introducing Beth Allums. She's an art educator from Virginia, and I am absolutely thrilled that you're here with me today, Beth. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Any opportunity to hang out with you, Kris.
That is so, you're so nice. That's awesome for my ego too, which by the way, I picked out this outfit specifically for paper collage today. I wanted to show, like, you know, you pick out like your texture and your cool pattern, and you can kind of break the rules, which clearly I am. I jokingly sort of call it my Velvet Elvis, Chris Farley, because I kind of feel a little bit like that guy in a little coat. But, you know, I'm working it, and I think, you know, that's just the whole thing. Like paper collage, it works if you work it, right? How did you get into mail art?
You know, is the funniest thing I have. I'm not even sure that I know. Art journaling and visual journaling, and you know, has never really been something that I really attached myself to, although it's been, you know, around forever, until I started looking at it in a different way. I started making pages that were more mixed media, that were more collage, as we're talking about today. And then I discovered mail art, probably through a forum on Facebook. I have no idea. There were groups at the time, swap groups, called like Happy Mail Swaps. And so I started getting involved in those. And something about it lit my fire because it was so freeing. I could make a small piece that I could send off into the world and then like release it. It wasn't something that I had to put too much stock into. It unleashed some creativity in me, I think. And so I started making more I started, you know, combining that with journals, making more mail art. I've incorporated a lot of the principles with my students. It's so great for community building. I did it in the last county that I was in. I was in a large county where we did all kinds of professional development things together, and we did a countywide mail swap. So it's really just become something that I do now. It's a way to share work that is outside of the normal spectrum of hanging work on the wall and a gallery. It's art that just becomes something that we put out into the world.
Love it so much on so many levels. So we're going to get back to that. Part of the reason I called Beth was not only because I wanted to hear more about this mail art, but also I knew I was going to be doing these series of webinars where we have taken a teacher lesson plan. This one is on Ashley Bryan paper collage. Ashley Bryan is an African-American male artist, and I say male because the name Ashley, like Kris, is a unisex name, but he is, I believe, 96 or 97 years old, and he was at the High Museum. So since we've created the teacher, we have then created a project guide. And so today's lesson plan and short video is all on this project guide and how you can even adapt it at home. So we're gonna let you, Beth, get ready for the mail art demonstration. Everybody watch this paper collage and you'll hear my High Museum of Art story, and then we'll be back with Beth. Hi, I'm Kris Bakke with Nasco Education. And I'm really lucky because sometimes I get opportunities to visit places like the High Museum of Art in Atlanta. And on this particular day, there was the Ashley Bryan exhibit. And Ashley Bryan is an amazing artist, poet, illustrator, writer, author, incredible, just an amazing human. And the display was just glorious with color. And what really resonated with me that day was these beautiful paper collages. So NASCO has over 100 lesson plans available for teachers online on nascoeducation.com, and also our K-to-Career Resource Center called NASCO Educate. The world of learning is always evolving, and so we decided we would create some into a student guide, a project guide that just really gives the quick and basic directions on how to create these lesson plans. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these Ashley Bryan collages. And I chose to create my collage using a hand, because I think in one of the books he illustrates, he's got the whole world in his hands. And so you start with a sketch, and you're just going to use a number 2 pencil to sketch out what you want. But you want to make sure to sketch out all your details and sort of map out what you're going to do. And granted, it might change a little bit, but that's going to be your roadmap. Definitely start with your background and your large items first. If you try to start gluing on some detail and then realize you need the hand, obviously it's going to cover it up. And students like me need to know these things. And so background, large items, and then from there you can start adding your detail. And so this is my completed piece. It was sort of a weather theme, and so I had my snow, and I had my sun and my moon, and I thought I was pretty clever because I did a full moon and a half moon, and then like the crescents. I had some raindrops and lightning bolts and wind and the hot rays from the sun, and so it was just really fun. I would definitely recommend utilizing some of the resources from Ashley Bryan, but you can also create it in a wide variety of ways. If you are making it at home and you don't have the construction paper as a resource, it can be definitely done with scrap paper from home. I used a grocery bag and magazines, but you could use newspaper or junk mail or wrapping paper, wide variety of stuff. We want you to have fun, be creative, make it your own, and enjoy this lesson plan. So I love the irony that 3 years ago today, I was in the Atlanta Museum, the High Museum in Atlanta, and the Ashley Bryan display was truly amazing. The diversity of this particular lesson plan is so much fun, and I love that it can be K through 12 because it's paper and gluing, and it can be as simplistic as shapes or as ornate as you make it. So I'm a huge fan of collage because it's There are no rules, and the mail art was something I had never heard of until I met Beth Allums. And so, Beth, are you ready?
Got it.
Beautiful. I see you and you're perfect. And so take over the stage.
Okay. I can't really see myself, so I've kind of got my area. Oh, here we go. All right, good. I have my area kind of marked out so I can show you some things. So I have been collecting mail art now for several years. It's so much fun. Like I said, it's versatile. You can use any kinds of materials. It's fun. You can use old scrap things. I mean, as art teachers, we have, you know, scraps that students love to throw away. I grab those and I throw them in my collage box. Anything goes in this sort of thing. And I really find that it's very freeing. It's been freeing for my students as well as for my own creative process. So I just thought to start off, I would show you a couple fun things that I have that I can show you. This is actually something I have to reciprocate. The thing about mail art is you always want to reciprocate. If you receive mail art, you send it back out. This is an envelope that I received not that long ago, actually. And if you look inside, there's all kinds of cool goodies for making more collage. This is another collage piece. It says on the back, spread art, not viruses. Anything from paint chips to old scrapbook materials. This is an old, like some sort of playing card or trading card, stamped items or printed items. I have a really cool, this is not quite an ATC or artist trading card. It's a little bit larger. These are really just wonderful. Some really cool old papers. And, you know, just to kind of sending off these things is kind of a great way to kind of keep it going. I've gotten really cool postcards. You're utilizing lots of stamps, collage papers. Sometimes artists will even sew items onto the work. This one is collaged with scrapbook paper, all in the same monochromatic colors. Here's a fabulous envelope I received, and the envelope was made out of a children's book. So you can really take anything and go in a million different directions with mail art. I have done mail art with my students. I teach high school now, but I have taught elementary school. And these are two sweet postcards made by former 5th grade students. So it's really, I find that what you provide them with and the structure that you provide the students with is going to kind of dictate where they take it. I have some collage pieces that one of my high school students sent me. A lot of times there's a lot of humor, just silly collage going together in different ways. Here's an artist trading card. I had this one student that she just kept making and making and making and putting things together, and it was wonderful. I have a student that, you know, just likes to do lettering, taking little miniature test watercolor pieces and turning them into artist trading cards by adding a quote. Books are another great one. This is a little booklet that a student made, and this is one that another mail artist sent me. It's made out of paper bags, and literally it's a hodgepodge of everything. If you open up, like, the paper bag is almost like a folder, but they're also the pages. And then they have these flaps. I mean, collage is wonderful. And I think that what's really cool about this lesson is we're picking up on a different artist with a different message, and we're kind of running with it. Instead of taking just your Matisse, we're now looking at everything around us as potential for art making, especially when our students are at home with maybe an old magazine and some mom's old scrapbook paper or some stationery. I do have a friend that does some beautiful work sewing on paper, stamps. Whatever you have is fair game. So some of the pieces that I have made, I've used Old National Geographics are some of my favorites for collage material. If you're smart, you're telling everybody to save them for you. They're wonderful. Here's another one. And just kind of juxtaposing different images together, putting different things together. Also, who doesn't have parents or community members that give you big piles of old scrapbook materials that they're no longer using? So I like to use those to make up my backgrounds. Another thing I like to use for backgrounds are jelly prints, gelatin prints, gel prints with a gel pad or a jelly plate or whatever you have. You can also do stenciling. You can just paint a background. So I do like to start with some sort of base. The surfaces that I use are just tag board from packaging, food packaging at home. Don't throw it away. This is great art making material. Any of my students that try to tell me they don't have something to make art with, I tell them to go in their garbage because there's tons of stuff there for them. This is just the perfect thing for a postcard. Another thing that I like to do, and if your kids can print or if you can get them items, clip art is a great thing to do. It kind of takes off some of the pressure of finding the perfect image. Stamped images. These are images from Diane Reevely, who makes stuff for a company. She's a mixed media artist, and that's a postcard I have started. So you can do all kinds of stuff. I actually got a little carried away recently, and I made some of my own clip art on just to share. So if you're worried about licensing or anything like that, you can just make some images or encourage your students to draw out some images that they can copy, they can color in, and then use that as the clip art for their artwork. So what I would normally do is start with either Collage Pattern, which if you don't have scrapbook paper, you know, you can go into any like catalog line around, like Lands' End always has those great prints, you know, like pictures of prints, anything like that you can find to fill your page with pattern. So this is printed pattern, stenciled, this is paper. And then I like to take some either clip art, or I'm a collector. I'm a mini hoarder. I hoard stuff. I find quotes in magazines. They keep sending me those People magazines right now, and I don't order them. So I don't know why I keep getting them, but they have great quotes in them, like quarantined cats. I mean, I think mail art and collage art can be a lot of fun if you go with humor. Some old images from old craft magazines, kind of silly. They just are kind of fun. And then I might use even some paper to make a border. So let's see, I'm gonna go for it here. I've got some stuff sitting out. With this guy, I feel like my background is already ready to go. So what I would probably do here is find some sort of quote that I can attach, and maybe a focal point, like an image of a person, an animal, a flower, and I just use a regular old glue stick. Let's see, I'm going to get a spare sheet of paper to work off of, or here I have a plastic mat, and just glue my stuff together. I don't frankly think too hard about it. If I see something that just spurs an idea, then I just go for it. This is, and leaves the creativity to you. So what leaves the creativity to you? Maybe I can find something else that stands out to me. another word or image. Heartwarming stories of real life heroes. I mean, all of these great quotes coming from these People magazines are a lot of fun. I mean, this is a great start, but I would probably keep going personally. I would take a paint pen, maybe some washi tape. I have these little strips of washi tape. And, you know, there are all kinds of ways too. You can make little kits for your students if you feel like they're, you know, don't have these kinds of materials at their house. It's a way of getting them to think about it a little differently. And instead of saying, I don't have that, I can't do that, what are the minimum supplies that you can supply them, that you can provide them in this, you know, trying time, that can get them on their way to thinking about the materials in their world a little differently. So, you know, perhaps a little bit of washi tape, perhaps maybe providing them with a clip art sheet, a glue stick, a couple of markers, and that's all they really need. I would probably go in here, let's see, and do, I like to make marks, just adding a few things to tie all of the crazy together. Another fun thing are these little dot stickers that you would use at a yard sale. They're really fun, just as decorative elements. Repeating pattern. So we're using pattern. We're recycling materials. Juxtaposing images together. So I don't know, I feel like I would go with that. I would leave that one alone. If I was going to take my recycled bits of scrap jelly here, I'm gonna do the same kind of thing. These are the clip art, these are the flowers that I actually drew these on my iPad and then printed them out. So I don't have to worry about copyright infringement because it's my stuff. So I could just take that, again, glue stick, and mail. And because these items are just so, you know, you're really just using what you have and you're not putting too much stock into any of it. I mean, you can put as much into it as you want. I'm not saying that it's throwaway art. I feel like it's liberating art. Does that make sense? You can watercolor your clip art. You can use a marker. You can leave them as they are. Small little letter stamps are great for this kind of thing. Sometimes you're going to have that, you know, you might see something wonderful in the clearance rack. So just adding a couple of stamps. If you don't have stamps, one of my favorite things to do is just to use an eraser to stamp some marks. I'm completely winging it here. Some are going to be better than others. And again, I think it's really about the process, about putting things out there, you know, the message that you write on the back of your postcard. Let's see, let's talk about postage for a second. You can send just about anything in the mail with the correct postage. Don't let them tell you differently. It's not true. You can send most postcards if they're 4x6 with the postage stamp that is for postcards only. That's a really easy, great, cheap way to send lots of postcards. Let's see, I'm gonna go with another one. I'm just gonna keep on rolling. Let's see, here's from my son's ginger ale addiction, which is such a weird weird thing. Here's some old wrapping paper. I'm gonna make my background with some wrapping paper to start off with. So that postage makes it pretty easy. Envelopes, same thing, anywhere from 55 cents if it's a regular stamp to 70 cents if it's packed a little bit more full. I like to keep little gift cards to use as squeegees to help all that stay on there, and then just trim it off. These are my favorite scissors. They are the titanium Westcott small scissors. Man, they cut like a dream. As far as like cutting out like bits of clip art as well, that is probably one of my favorite things to do while I'm watching television. It's so relaxing just to sit and take a piece, take an image, and just start cutting out whatever image it is. Very relaxing, very chill. So I've got some wrapping paper. I like to, when I go out to support my local Asian grocery markets, this is a great thing to pick up, just a freebie newspaper, and then you get something a little more interesting here. Squeegee that down. Finding mail art partners. One, right now, our community is coming together in so many great ways. You can partner with another school from far away, which I've done. You can search online for mail artists and mail art groups on Facebook. Happy Mail is something to search. Instagram is a really, really great one. Let's see, what else would you search for? Maybe, if you are leading and not your students are leading the swap, you can go to a website called the IOUMA.com. I've got some stencils here. I'm going to add a little bit of stenciling here, I think. The IOUMA stands for the International Union of Mail Artists. Yes, that's a thing. And it is definitely exploding now that people are, it's a very old site. Like it's a really old, lowbrow looking, almost like a wiki site, like an old Google site. And it's still active. Again, Instagram has probably taken over because people love to show their work. But it's an awesome, awesome way to connect. I recently sent a postcard to somebody that I found on the IOUMA, and I received a postcard back from him, and it said, "Thank you so much. This arrived just in time. I work in the ER, and it's been rough." And that was in Northern Virginia, where, you know, Northern Virginia has got a lot going on. You know, we're used to thinking just about New York, but definitely there are some of these other big hubs that are seeing a lot of sad news. So it made me feel incredibly good and incredibly validated to be able to kind of share a little bit of art joy with somebody. Yeah, so I don't know if there are any questions about sending mail art or making mail art. To me, I think this has been a really liberating thing for my students to just see how they can kind of throw some things together and then they send it off. And they're motivated because we're getting the items back sometimes. So then they can see how other people, other artists are tackling the topic of mail art, how other people are putting things together, and then their ideas continue to grow and grow and grow. It's been a lot of fun. I had started I did mail art as for the workshop that we had, Kris had mentioned earlier. I had done the mail art because we had started a swap at the beginning of, you know, before everything went sideways. We had started a swap and I was really excited about it. And then, you know, it just kind of went away when we went away for this, you know, fun quarantine we're all in. And what was really wonderful is some of my students held on to that, and we started, I would send them mail art. I received a little bit from a few students. Then I was able to share it with some educators, and I'm a little bit behind on my correspondence. I need to get some of that going again. So I don't know. I'm gonna play here. These are some clip art pieces that I literally printed out. Again, you can make your own if you're concerned about that. Magazines are great. I think I've lost you, Kris.
Beth, I've been making right along with you.
Oh.
And I'm completely digging this. Can I throw a couple questions out at you while you finish? Or
Please do. I'm just gonna keep on doing this. I'm probably gonna do it all day and avoid grading my work that's coming in from a latest assignment. I'll do it this evening because now I'm on a roll.
And we are doing great. We have plenty of time to get, but we're getting some really great questions. And so I want to, sorry everybody too, if I like lean in at my computer, but sometimes my bifocal's not working as good as I wish. Lots of people are interested in terms of an exchange. And so one of the things that I want to share with everybody is some events that are going on. So the first one, because this one is actually timely, in your webinar, you can see probably on the side of your screen a section that says handouts. And if you click on that handout, it says pushing the envelope document. And so it is just a one-sheet page that talks about the pushing the envelope quarantine teaching in a pandemic. So it's an invitation to a mail art show that School Arts Magazine is doing in conjunction with Frank Juarez. He is an art educator from Wisconsin, and he has his own gallery and he does some really amazing stuff. And so through School Arts, each teacher can send in artwork that must fit in a 4x6, and there's all of the details are right on here, but it's one entry per art teacher. I wish I was an art teacher because this looks really cool, but you just create your own 4x6 postcard, put it in an envelope and send it, and they are going to create a virtual art gallery. Some of the pieces may also end up in School Arts Magazine. And so the deadline, I believe, is July 24th. It needs to be postmarked by July 24th. The information is all on here and it's part of the handout. So if you have any questions, you can contact Nancy Walkup. She's with Davis Art, and the information is on the handout. So that's the first thing to get involved with, and I'm excited about it because it is going to document this historical time in our life. And as crazy as it is, what an amazing way to come together as a community. And I think, Beth, you see that just with the story that you sent of sending it to the ER nurse.
Right, and that was just a random message. So on the IOUMA, you can post your address. It doesn't have to be your physical address. If you're somebody who is more concerned, get a post office box. You can still get post office boxes. There are also calls for mail art shows all over the world. So in the mail art swap, I had started with my students, and the call I had put out on the IOUMA, we received artwork from the Netherlands, from Taiwan. I mean, it is an international way to connect. I feel like as art educators right now, we are really seeking to connect with one another, but you can reach out even further, and it's so amazing, so amazing.
So one of the questions from Linda says, do you keep anything from what you received from others? And then do you forward work and materials to others?
So that mail art swapping is kind of, I get free range. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's kind of open. So you can send a postcard. It can be something like a postcard with a message on the back. Some people like to send envelopes, like I had received this awesome one right here. It was an envelope that then was full of some goodies for other items, or you can send artist trading cards, or so the envelope can contain whatever you want it to. I would think for the mail art call, for example, that Davis is doing, that's going to be, you're either going to do a postcard or decorate an envelope with a small piece of art or artist trading cards inside. That's typically what I receive when I'm doing that sort of thing.
Okay, and as you keep working, Beth, now I'm going to say, let's tip up to your face because we got tons of questions.
Awesome.
And then you can kind of hold some stuff up. But while you work on tipping that up, I will also talk about some questions have come through about professional development. At the end of each of these webinars, you receive a thank you email for coming, and attached to that email is a certificate, a PD certificate that said you attended this webinar. If that's allowed at your school district and for your school, absolutely, that is why we create it, because we want you to get the credit for attending, and we're grateful that you are here. If there's anything else that we need to add to it, by all means, get a hold of me. You can reach me at kbakke@nascoeducation.com. And so, or, you know, certainly give a call to NASCO. We will take care of you that way. But you should get a certificate that you can just print right off at the end. The next thing is about, lots of people are saying they want to exchange. And so the idea that Beth and I had together was, how much fun would it be to sort of start gathering some of this mail art to share at the national show in 2021. And granted, we know that it's still up in the air as to whether we'll be physically together or not. But even if we're not, I'm guessing there'll be some sort of virtual way we're together, and NASCO will figure that out. But our plan is to gather up a whole bunch of this super fun mail art. And this is a piece that I'm actually going to mail into NASCO, because how much fun is it that Frida is on here? I told Beth that ever since she introduced me to this, that now I am like super obsessed. In fact, this one is for my mom. My mom's at a nursing home right now. And so, you know, I just wrote Granny there, and I love you, because that's what we call my mom. And so then I'll just send that. And then on the back, I always write, thank you, Rockhaven. That is the nursing home that she's at. So sometimes you send it without any intent to get it back at all. Other times it is a swap. And because I actually have a job for a living besides this, I probably can't commit to doing the swap. But what I think I can commit to is connecting people to do swaps. So if you're interested, we will send out some information. And if I've missed any of the questions, and we still have plenty of time, but if I miss any of the questions, I'll make sure to come back and answer them. But as Beth creates a lesson plan for us, and when we talk about lesson plans, we always put a little caveat on there that says lesson plans are developed with teachers with no claim of original authorship. We're not looking to plagiarize anybody's copyrighted or published information, and nobody's out to sort of like steal each other's ideas. Mail art is out there. all this lesson plan would be Beth sharing how she does it within her class, and some information and probably some, like the International Union of Mail Artists, you know, sharing that resource. But when we get that together, you'll for sure be able to see it. We put all of our lesson plans on nascoeducation.com, our website, but we also have the K to Career Resource Center called Nasco Educate, and you can create an account to get some of those free resources that are available there. So another question, Beth, that came through was, do you use something to code it?
I actually don't, but quite a lot of times I will receive things that are either laminated or, do you know what the best, easiest thing to use is? Clear packing tape. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never even thought about clear packing tape. That's excellent. I'm a giant Mod Podger. So, you know, if you have some sort of seal like that too, but show the packing tape.
So this one is, you know, if you buy scrapbook supplies and stuff at the store, a lot of times they'll come in these cellophane. I can't see my camera, but I hope you can see what I'm showing you. This has some items on it that are raised. And so in order to get it through the mail, you
lift it up a little bit.
This? Oh,
yeah, there you go.
I raised it for myself, but I can't see myself right now.
No, you're totally good. Perfect.
But so this one is just covered in a piece of plastic, but you have to make sure that the stamp is on the outside of whatever plastic. So I will just use clear packing tape if I'm doing anything at all. I'll just put clear packing tape over the front so that the back can still be processed through the mail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This one is not. This girl is one of my favorites. I've tried to send stuff to her again, and I haven't gotten back from her, so I need to look her up. But she always does great things. She makes great marks. She's always got little stamps on there. Super fun. Things that look, you know, putting it together like it looks seamless, like it just all belongs together, and it's a hodgepodge.
I love that, and I love the fact that you can, aside from collage, you know, like you can add other marks on with like paint. You know, obviously this was the card inside and I wrote in it. I'm cracking up because I'm not even near experienced, but I think you can do it totally inexperienced. Beth, share how you do this project with high schoolers, because it's kind of an open-ended assignment, right?
Well, and I'm a tab teacher, or a open classroom teacher. So teaching for artistic behavior. I am much more of an open format. I teach in a rural school. My students don't always come to the table with very much art experience, and they're very insecure about it at that age. And for many, we know that some of those kids really get locked down to art for a really long time because they feel like they can't succeed on a specific type of level. And so that I feel that my style of teaching works so great for my kids because it opens them up to so many other ways of being successful in the art room. So we start off my Art 1 and Art 2 classes. I just straight up start off with their sketchbooks, and we do gel printing because it's very open-ended, and you have all these prints and patterns, and okay, then what do you do with it next? And let's look at some collage. And when they're making the covers to their sketchbook, they're encouraged to mix and match all of these different things. And all of a sudden they realize, oh, I don't have to come in here and be the best at drawing. It's not all about just drawing. Is that one of the fundamentals? I know a lot of teachers have very strong feelings about that. And of course we teach that as well. But when we start off with multiple ways for them to explore being creative and being artistic, and what does that look like? I think it opens my students up and they're more accepting. So we started off with our sketchbooks, our sketchbook covers, then we do some pages inside, visual journaling style, and then we move into the drawing. by then they've started to see that there's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. It's a horrible phrase, but it's the one I thought of. When I teach it, I just kind of introduce materials and let them go with it and see where they take it. I had some students that started doing some small pieces and were having fun with that. And so I naturally introduced mail art, and that's where we went with it this semester. I had another student who was interested in some of my older journals. This is an old journal of mine where I did a lot of collage and stamping. It's a lot of the same. You can see it's a lot of the same stuff you do in mail art. And she really was interested in this style. So I introduced her to some mixed media artists like Tisha Moore, and taught her about that stuff. And she made a journal that helped her process through the death of her boyfriend at the beginning of her senior year. Like,
my goodness.
And like, so it's become, it becomes this art therapy thing where they can process
Sure.
these things without having, to be so everything having to be perfect. I think so many artists get hung up and they're like, it has to be this certain way, and then they shut down if it can't be that way. This is a way, in my opinion, to open them up. I have
totally.
the mail art.
Also, so a couple questions on details. One, is there a danger of students sending mail to strangers?
How it through me. If we're doing a swap, let's see, I have a piece that has what I wrote on the back. I don't have them put any of their personal information. If they want to put a first name only, that's fine. My high schoolers, some of them will try to put like their Instagram tags and everything. But so this is one that a student made. On the back, I just had my school address.
Yep.
The information of what we were doing. I think mail artists are kind of all on the same page. Certainly, as a professional, you can go about it all sorts of ways, from whether or not you're making a hashtag or an Instagram account that is anonymous, that doesn't have your personal information. It could be a PO box. There's multiple ways to go around it where you're not giving out information. And I think that that's a really important thing to talk about with kids. You can also do a swap within your own. Like I said, we had done this within my county. I worked in a very, very large county. I'm in a very, very small county right now, but I was a very large county. And we did a swap amongst all the art teachers as kind of professional development, where we had a monthly mail swap. You can do it.
And I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
My thought process was with some of you that have asked, like, how do we exchange? I was going to say it's going to be fun if we can sort of create this community, and I can like connect you with Beth's school or connect you with somebody else's school, and then you can do a swap within schools. Or we could maybe even have like a separate group or a page where there's several different schools that you can share that have agreed to do this together. I, a lot of times, will put a return address on ones that I'm sending to my mom at the nursing home, only because if it doesn't go through, it'll come back to me, and it might indicate that I've maybe over collaged or put something too chunky on it or something like that. But yeah, I think if you're going to do the exchange with students, you do want to make sure to be practicing keeping them, a little bit anonymous, so that, there's safety involved. How about postage? Who pays for like the postage for the envelopes at your school, or is it the students, the parents?
So for me, I mean, when we were doing it from school, I was turning the receipt for the postage in to my financial secretary, because it was part of a project. We were sending out pieces that we were making, and we were receiving pieces, and the pieces that we were receiving, we were collecting, and then they would be put on display for our own mail art show. I actually, I had seen a mail art show in Richmond, which is where I live, and there was this really cool, a guy had done a thing where just like, similar to Nasco, where, I mean, Davis and Nasco together, the mail art call, saying, here, this is what the theme is, this is the constraint, send it by this date. That's how a mail art call works. And then he collected the materials and hung them in a gallery. And it was so cool. It was amazing. I have photos of it. I'd be more than happy to share. I do have a blend space presentation. I have information on the history of mail art. If anyone is interested in really, rolling in the art history, and I mean, it goes into Dada and Fluxus. I mean, you could go as deep or as surface as you want to go. But what I love about working in collage is that when we talk about collage, particularly on the elementary level, what's your first go-to? Matisse. Well, there's more than one, there's more ways to kind of get into it. I think, you can start getting into Rauschenberg. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Will you post some of those pieces on our NASCO Facebook page?
Sure. And we could definitely start another page. I mean, if we've got a good, group of people that want to start a swap. When I had done mail art swap pages before, you would create an event with a theme and a deadline and do swap partners. And so I'm familiar with how to do that. That's something that we can do. We can also just have threads where this is a thread for people who are looking to swap with another school. Boom.
That would be so cool. Also, Jurena, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. She says there is a website called Mail Me Some Art.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up because that sounds super cool. Thank you for sharing that.
She does books too. I have some of them.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I have some work that I've swapped. What is her name? I can't remember her name, but I have stuff in my collection.
And Robin suggests that when we do the lesson plan, please add the history into the lesson plan. That's an excellent suggestion.
Absolutely.
So yes, we will make sure to get some information to share and swap with you guys. The questions are flying in. This is exciting.
Awesome. Hit me.
But I also, so for those of you who go to NAEA and for those of you who don't, if you would like a piece that we can bring to, we're thinking about having sort of a little corner or a little table or something where we can share the lesson plan, and then where we can have just a whole bunch of the mail art that has come to NASCO. So our address is NASCO. You can put it to attention Kris Bakke, that's me, and then 901 Janesville Avenue. It's Fort, F-O-R-T, Atkinson, A-T-K-I-N-S-O-N, Wisconsin, and it's 53538. I have actually posted it in some of the comments. It's also, I'm pretty sure it's on our website too, so it's easy to get. But start sending a piece of mail art on it, and we will collect them and save them so that we will have a wide variety to share. And then the hopes is that NAEA will also do some swapping, and I think that could be really, really fun. We will also I'll also work with Beth on the page where we can create swaps within schools so that there's a safe way to do it. If you want students to send some art here, I can't send it back. So anything you send here doesn't go back to you, but we absolutely can share on our Facebook page and Instagram.
Yeah, I say starting a mail art swap page. Some of the ones that I had done before had kind of pooped out. When I went back looking for them again during this time, I would love to find some new swap buddies. Definitely an etiquette in mail art. When you receive mail art, you send it back. You always reciprocate. But of course, you send it for the joy of doing so. Sometimes you never know what someone else is dealing with and whether or not they have an opportunity to get it back to you in the most timely, or maybe even if ever. So you kind of do it for the joy and the idea of just giving, not necessarily receiving, but obviously you want to do your best to reciprocate.
Yes,
It's
I love it. And that
community.
is such the idea of community too. And it goes along with the school arts event. I would really encourage each of you to try to do a piece, you know, that sort of 4x6. NASCO actually has some postcards, and I'm sorry to do a quick commercial on this, but seriously, what a great base this is, because it's a 4x6. And you even can sort of see that, you can't see it on the camera, but on the back, it even has a place for a name. It has the postcard where you place the stamp. So it kind of is almost template-like. You get like 50 of them. I think they're like $6 or something like that. I mean, it's not a hard sell because I don't even know the part number. So, you know, virtually worthless that way. But my point being is it's a great base. But on the other hand too, how many times do you get like an advertisement in the mail? Yeah, turn it right into a piece of mail art. That's what this was. In fact, I don't even remember what this junk mail was, but I turned it into a piece. Do that with the pushing the envelope. It's not a contest. It's not a juried thing. It's a invitation for you all to share about how you're feeling during this quarantine and creating a piece of mail art that sort of documents the history of it. So cool. I mean, I think it's just a really neat opportunity. That the handout is in your webinar. If you have any concerns, by all means, let me know. Beth, we actually only have 3 minutes left. Let me see if I can grab another question up quick.
Sure. Are you familiar with Post Secret, Kris?
Say that one more time.
Heard of Post Secret?
No.
Ooh, I'm sure some people will be familiar with that. So Post Secret is like you mail into this anonymously, like a postcard with your secret on it. And it's this really, really profound collection. You can find it on Instagram. There's books. Post Secret is something that's been going on a long time. So if you think about like the quarantine, like, you know, what if it was a time capsule and you wanted to have something that you would say about your experience, I would feel like, you know, how can you theme that into a small piece of art to be sent through the mail?
Yeah,
and then
my brain goes into the secret of me trying to sneak the Skittles jelly beans in the middle of the night, and the whole bag fell and jelly beans are on the floor. Probably worse secrets out there at night than that, but that was what came to my mind. So consider the school arts pushing the envelope. Please consider joining NASCO's mail art as we prepare for NAEA 2021, and hoping that we truly can be face-to-face, because I miss all of your faces so much, and I would love to see Beth's face-to-face in live in real person. Beth, thank you so much. You are an absolute joy and a pleasure. And there is no doubt in my mind that you make a difference with your students, and you are absolutely adding to the community for art education and sharing with other teachers. I appreciate it. You are fantastic, and I have so enjoyed this, and I can't wait to continue to work with you. For all of you who have sent in questions, thanks for being here and joining us. Wednesday, we have Casey Kemper live from the Hive. We're going to do a little bit of a very elementary Monet Japanese footbridge NASCO lesson plan. And then elementary art teacher Casey Kemper, who actually has beehives, is going to talk a little bit about how he teaches during quarantine and sets up his lessons, and also is going to teach us how to create a bee. And let's be honest, then you can put a bee on your mail art, and we can just put it all together. Thank you, Beth. Everybody just keep being well. Stay safe and keep teaching art.